Welcome to Thrive with Nancy. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I have to share with you, it is a bit tongue-in-cheek approach to a topic that will seriously impact your career over and over throughout the years. Ready to listen to? You never generate tomorrow careers with yesterday's skills. I often shake my head chuckling at how ironic life is, but I'm sure you've bumped into it yourself. Have you come to recognize that the steadfast, sometimes everyday stuff you take for granted sets the stage for your career to soar or not? It's easy to talk about today's business uncertainties and their potential impact on you. Living a career with any equanimity today is way more complicated and requires way more intentionality than ever before. And yet, that's the very attitude needed. If you find yourself off balance, you instinctively trust who you are and what you know already works for you. There's nothing innately wrong with this response. After all, these skills are the deeply embedded, purposefully developed aspects of you that have won you recognition, rewards, and promotion all these years. But are they as effective for today's strategies, or is it essential to reconnoiter and fine-tune your winning formulas? Put your thinking cap on as we dig in, challenging 3 of your possible winning practices to verify that they still meet today's success requirements. Trust me, you've got this. You already know how to build a thriving career. Tweaking one is easy peasy. First, visionary. Your long-term destination mindset has made a difference in your career as it separated you from your mid-level peers. Your dialed-in what's next attitude directs your steps. But dogged aspirations rarely win you the fulfilling career that can and should be yours. Are you surprised? Do you think this doesn't sound like Nancy, me's typical advice for helping executive women to thrive? Please listen carefully. One of the great ahas I received years ago when interviewing women executives individually and in focus groups, quote unquote, who had supposedly arrived for my book, Dancing on the Glass Ceiling, was a disappointment that ran rife throughout their dialogue. I often heard the regret, if I'd only known this is what being a partner at a leading CPA firm or law firm or being a C-suite executive at a top organization or starting my own business and being an entrepreneur, you name it, would be like, I would have made new plans. Sometimes, I have to tell you, it was too late to change direction by the time their discovery happened. For others, revision had them unlocking a new professional map that has them thriving. That's what I want for you. So while I coach women to set long-term 20-year goals out there, yes, and most of them aren't going to be working for another 20 years, but I want it unattached to who they are today, so it can be big and they can dream magnificent dreams. So as I strongly believe that this 20-year goal setting speeds up the development process and has you noticing opportunities you might never have seen or taken advantage of, the downside is operating with a rigid mindset will inevitably limit you. My advice? Charge towards your future with a plan you're willing to let go of if and when something better comes along, then take that one on. You're supercharging yourself when you discover a new strength or passion that moves your future in a brand new, exciting direction. Each season necessitates taking your pulse to ensure you're on the right path. Second, accountability. Early in your profession, an essential foundational competency was to become a completion results-grounded employee. You couldn't be successful in a company without that muscle. There's no question this ability has served you well through the years, and partly accounts for your rise from low-level positions to more senior ones. But what if your definition of accountability in today's overcommitted, overloaded workplace isn't as effective as it once was? Think about it. In the beginning, your gold star equation was based on your success at checking off everything on your to-do list. Whereas, as you assume higher level responsibilities, completion discernment is vital because you can't ever get everything done. And you have to focus on what's the highest priority for your organization. Have you adjusted to this mindset? If not, begin the reorientation by identifying the highest priorities you have right now. What isn't significant should be reassigned to an employee who will gain knowledge to grow their career, or recommend postponing the project, or simply not doing it at all. You can't afford to burn yourself out on activities that don't provide critical results for the organization. That isn't constructive for the business's future or your career. Third, language. When we move through the stages of childhood into adulthood, we acquire new vocabulary to communicate our experiences. The same was necessary once you began your first day in business. Effective communication is challenging enough without tapping into the vernacular or language of the land. You've adjusted, or you wouldn't hold the position you currently do. However, isn't it time to recalibrate to ensure you speak the language of today's faster pace, topsy-turvy, more diverse work environment? Have you considered that such a lack of adjustment may be a stumbling block to generating desirable outcomes? Would anyone remain employed if you as a leader said, "Follow me to doom and disaster," and no salary increases? Of course not. So authority, strategy, sound decision-making, confidence, and optimism are minimally required from a leader to communicate hope and future into an organization, particularly in the face of tough times. Are you wondering how you stack up? Results are the first measurement. Are you achieving the expected outcomes with little need for correction or adjustment? Another check-in point is to listen to you communicating complex, authoritative messages. Record yourself while envisioning challenging situations where you see yourself shining or recalling less than stellar events. Record and record yourself until your words and tonality align with the desired results. Try it out. You'll be amazed at the results you generate. Remember, scientifically, when you visually imagine, and I say speaking out loud, your brain processes it as though it is reality. It is you having the ability to real life practice your future. You've had a chance to examine and contemplate which of these three practices, if not all of them, require you regrouping and what new actions you must take. I confess, rarely does a podcast offer enough time to wrap your arms around the areas you're holding near and dear. You know, the ones required for you to modify in order to achieve the influence and position you aspire to be in. It does begin the process of transformation, though. Of course, there are other critical adjustment factors, but starting with these three will put a massive dent into opening the doors for you to be far more effective in today's extraordinarily demanding, challenging work environment. Then, once they're nailed down, start on other attitudes that are impairing your future. Which of the three do you intend to modify to meet your career requirements today? Transformation can never take place if you don't put your ahas into new responses. Yes, that requires time, planning, and action that only you can generate. I know you'll never be disappointed if you start working in these 3 areas. Your elevated view will be breathtaking and rewarding as you gain influence and recognition. Are you an executive woman keen for more insights to empower and aid you in thriving? Check out the free resources on my website, Thrive with Nancy. If you're excited to create new opportunities in your career, isn't now the time to experience the Your Strategic Edge program as your pathway to success? It is where you and I create a full-on partnership. Sign up for a free strategic call at www.thrivewithnancy.com/executive. No successful executive reaches the top or even arrives at their next destination alone. I'm thrilled you've listened to the Thrive with Nancy podcast. My intention is to offer quick tips designed for you to apply right away, ones that will boost your career immediately. I bet you're already considering ways to implement these new ideas. Perfect! Now, if you do me a favor, pass the podcast link on to those who will benefit, your friends and coworkers. Thanks so much.